Hello and welcome to this special episode of Arcade Couch Spoilercast, where we're discussing Horizon Fordbidden West, the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 exclusive. I nearly forgot for a second. It was on both consoles.
No, why?
Nah, on both PlayStation consoles. It is the sequel, of course, to Horizon Zero Dawn. Came out in 2017. It's been many, many years. This game takes place very shortly afterwards. You all should have probably watched a YouTube video or Wikipedia the plot because, boy, get lost pretty quick. Joining me to discuss the game, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, John, excited to be excited about this game. Well, you were not excited about this game.
Let's cut straight to the chase. I got a reviewer. I gave it a 7. That's okay. What would you if let's put it all on the table? What would you give it? Do you reckon?
I think probably an 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
Something like that. Around that range. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. I didn't say I hated it. But we're here to talk primarily, I guess.
No, you didn't
story.
hate the game. You just hated the story. It's fine.
Yes. Well, the story. That's what it's an interesting part of this game. So, little setup, I guess. Let me try and explain the story. Let me see how I go.
Yeah. Okay.
Aloy, in the last game. Hades, defeated. No problem. Silence runs off with Hades.
Yep.
Or, yes, runs off with Hades to the Forbidden West because he knows things that Aloy doesn't. Apparently he knows everything in this game. Even by the end, he's like, I knew that too. Like the one thing you didn't think he would know about the, whatchamacallit people, the whatever they were called. I can't
Far
remember.
Zeniths.
Far Zeniths. One thing you think he wouldn't know. He's like, nah, I knew that too. It's like a constant thing. Anyway, Aloy's like trying to find a new copy of Gaia, which is the AI machine system that was rebooting Earth to help rebuild it after they did the Zero Dawn project, which was to save Earth because Ted Faro made all these machines that were killing everyone. Yes, going good so far. Then Aloy chases after that into Forbidden West. She finds a copy of Gaia. However, it's missing all of its subordinate functions. So then she has to find a bunch of those. So she collects all of those. Well, not all of them. She collects, what, 4 of them? I think?
3 of them.
3.
Well, I guess 4. Are you counting Hephaestus or not counting Hephaestus?
I know, but before the end of the game. 3, I guess.
Yeah, 3 main ones.
Yeah. And then they, along the way, you find out about these people that are called the Far Zeniths, which Aloy and I guess most players assumed were, for when they first showed up, I'm like, aha, they were frozen in a cave or some shit, you know, like they were on the planet. They haven't come from space. They were on the planet because they were like frozen in a crypt somewhere and they've come out. The 1,000 years. They're rich people who froze themselves. And then she's like, oh no, they're like people who tried to find a place to escape, but they never got there because the ship blew up. Or so she thought. She thought their ship blew up. There's so many swerves of these Far Zeniths fuckers throughout this game. There's a constant, just every time they explain it, they're like, nah, that was a fake out. Here's a new thing. That was a fake out too. And let's not forget, the Far Zeniths have their own clone of Elizabeth Sobek, who Aloy treats like utter shit throughout the majority of this game. And then at the last second, like, no, we're sisters. And it really pissed me off. And I like subtly hinted that in my review because I was like, man, Aloy's treated you like crap this entire game. Anyway, come back to that. So got her, and then the Far Zeniths, one of them betrays them, and that's played by Carrie Moss. And at first she's like, man, here's the truth. Like we got up there and then the planet died or some shit like that. So we came back. Like we're the original Far Zenith people. And Aloy's like, well, that's crazy. I thought yous were like the babies of the Far Zenith people or some shit like that. She's like, nah, we're the OGs, homie. And then she comes and then Carrie Ann Moss's character betrays other Far Zeniths, and she's like, oh, I'm a good guy. And everyone playing the game's like, nah, don't believe you. And if you did, full on you. Then she's like, nah, I'll help you because I was in love with Elizabeth Sobek, but we don't say gay, so I'm not going to say that. And then she's like, I'll come back and I'll help you all out. And then you play through the whole thing, and she helps you storm the castle, and you kill all these fuckers in the white suits with the stupid shields and whatever else, and then robot attack. And then you go up the top of this tower thing, and then at the top you kill she kills the leader dude, whatever his name was, fuckface. And then she comes out and she's like, nah, swerve number 14. Ready for this one, Aloy? Here's the truth. We are, in fact, the original Far Zeniths. You already knew that. But guess what?
Whoa!
We didn't run away because the planet died. We ran away because we're going to give you all this information in the last 10 minutes of the game. We ran away because when what was up there, we are rich, powerful people. So we decided we want to live forever. So we tried to take our subconscious or some shit like that and turn it into an AI program, and it became Nemesis. That's the name. Nemesis. Not Resident Evil Nemesis, but something else Nemesis. They don't actually explain if this is a physical form. We don't know what this thing is. Anyway, Nemesis. And anyway, that thing like killed nearly everyone on the planet they were on or whatever, apart from these people that come down. The survivors jump on a ship, and they set sail back for Earth. Well, we're now going back to the events of the first game, because what actually happened is it was Nemesis who sent the protocol call down to
Earth to Hades.
To Hades, and Gaia that calls to do the self-destruct mechanism, or whatever you want to call that causes the whole events of the first game to happen. Whoa, oh my god. She's like, fuck this shit. We're going to run away on this ship, and we're going to go to another planet, because the plan was never actually to stay here forever. It was to get Gaia and then go terraform another planet. But you thought we were going to terraform Earth, like we're motherfucking what's his face out of Man of Steel. But you're wrong. So then let's go. And she's like, no, fuck you. And she's like, all right, well, I tried once, so let me get in my giant mech suit and try and kill you too. And then you kill her, and it's like, oh, sad. And then Silence is like, all right, peace out. And then Aloy's like, no, I'm not coming. And then Silence is like, all right, so I'm a good guy now, and how to change your heart. So then he comes back down, and then everyone's going to stay on Earth, and now they're going to fight Nemesis in the next game, whatever that is. Did I get the plot?
Yeah, but you left out a lot of the nuance and like the smaller details and like
I'm trying
anything to do with the tribes.
I'm trying to do a rundown of the core sort of, the core plot here. I'm doing a Horizon Forbidden West in 5 minutes here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if when we eventually come to the next game, I'm gonna guess Horizon Forgotten East. That's my pitch.
Forgotten East, yeah.
Forgotten East, where they go to New York. We'll cut this segment out and listen to that before we play the game, and we'll be fully prepared.
We'll probably be good. Yeah. Right, so let's start with this. I just want to start with the core plot, because then we can dig into some of the other stuff, the tribe and stuff. But let's just start with the core plot, because I don't like the ending of this game. I don't like this sudden this dribble that's given to you at the end. I don't like that this game that was like the first one and then the majority of this one's like semi-realistic. Even the first one I'll say was like they're machines or whatever, but it was always like sort of grounded in its own sort of reality. I guess like everything sort of made sense. There were people that created AI monsters or AI machines that went haywire and started killing everyone. I'm like, I could see that, I could see that. I've seen Terminator. And then they're like, and then to save Earth, like we created this program that would like create these other machines and, help populate and stuff. I'm like, that's kind of crazy, but sure. And then by the end of this game, look, to be honest, the Far Zeniths, I hated them all. I'm just going to rule it out there. The whole Far Zenith thing.
You hated the concept of Far Zeniths.
I just hated the concept of them. I don't think I like them at all, is what I've come to decide. Like looking back at the game by the end, I was like, Silence, bad guy. Why wasn't he in this game more? And then also, Regala, she was the best bad guy in the game. You know how many scenes she's in? Like 2. And then they're like, you have a fight, and then she's like, all right, you can choose to kill her or bring her along with you or whatever. Yeah, I know, but she's barely in the game. Anyway, she's the best bad guy in the game, and for some reason I got to deal with these Far Zenith fuckers. I'm like, fuck off. The game should have been about Regala, and it should have been about Silence, and these Far Zenith fuckers can get in the hole. I didn't care for their whole weird high sci-fi plot that comes along and sort of ruins the characters that I'd come to know and like and hate and whatever else. I mean, I don't like Silence, but he was making for a good bad guy, and then he disappears for like 3/4 of the game, and I got to deal with these Far Zenith fuckers, and they all look the same. They're stupid shields. Fuck them.
I disagree.
Yeah, I know you're gonna disagree, but I'm just.
I mean, I feel like they're filling a little bit of the hole that we have in this game, where a large focus of the last game was dealing with the stuff that's happening in the current tribal society, but also exploring what happened, the mystery of what happened to Earth. You know, that was the main two pillars of that first game. Whereas this one has got this other force that's more technically advanced that they have to face off against, which is an interesting concept. It's like, sure, how do these tribal-esque people compete with these people who have giant laser arms and giant matter things and shields? They can't compete, but they do and win. You know, it's fun. I didn't mind. I think it's cool that it went to like a more of a sci-fi direction, because it is completely sci-fi, this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's sci-fi, but I just feel like by the end, it just like. It just doesn't. It just sort of jumps off. What's the saying? You know, jumps the boat.
The shark.
Jumps the shark. It jumps the shark. I feel by the end with the whole. We turned our consciousness into an AI system, and now that's chasing us across the galaxy. I will admit, it does it does end on a crazy cliffhanger that comes out of nowhere a little bit. Yeah,
but I didn't mind.
They're literally these people running across the galaxy from their own consciousness that's turned on them, their own brains that's turned on them, that's trying to kill them. I think that my biggest problem is that although the AI system like Hades was the background foreboding bad guy of the first one, and it was like the final showdown, it's like you had all these actual human characters you could understand as bad guys and antagonists along the way. And now this one, pair the Far Zeniths, who might as well have been robots, because you don't get to know any of them. You don't get to learn fuck all about any of them apart from Carrie-Anne Moss's character. They're just like the whole bad guy. The most interesting bad guys are the ones I said, Silence and Regala. And they're sort of pushed aside for what might as well have been just a bunch of AI goons. Like, they're just not interesting bad guys.
I think they get equal time.
No.
In the grand scheme of things.
No way. Because the thing about Regala is she's the perfect bad guy because you understand her problem. That's the thing. You know what? Like when we talk about watching Black Panther and what makes that movie so good is that you can understand you're like he's the bad guy, not Black Panther. What's his fucking name?
Killmonger.
It's like he's the bad guy, but you understand where he's sort of come from. And they're usually the best villains. And I feel like that's what Regala was. You know, she's the bad guy, but you can understand what her problem was, where she was coming from. There's a human element there. Far Zeniths are like, ooh, lasers, pew, 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 we're here, we're bad guys. I'm like, cool.
I mean, you can understand where they're coming from as well. They're like these super advanced people, and these are like random people that are standing in their way of what they want to do, so...
No, I don't understand where they're coming from at all. They just come down like
it's like, oh, these ants are in the way.
They just come down like like super villains, just laser eyeing people, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, you love Justice League and the boys.
Hey.
You know, the Seven are great bad guys.
Yeah, but we literally have scenes with them throughout every single episode.
I think that's the big difference. Like, you know, throughout the entire story of this game, like we have characters within the Tanakh talking about Regala, their relationship with Regala, how she's changed, whereas you don't really get much about the Far Zeniths except from Beta.
That's my point.
Who's, yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's my point. It's. I thought Regala was being
still
built so well.
Work as like a credible threat throughout the entire
They're
game.
a threat, but I just don't. It's just such a disappointing threat. You know, like there's such a disappointing threat. There's nothing there. You know, I beat them. I'm like, cool story. They just fall over and die by the end. You know, after all their shields and stuff like that. Silence throws down some.
You didn't get satisfaction of them getting mauled by all those machines. That was pretty great.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And I finally enjoyed beating that fuck in the boss fight afterwards.
It was because that was fun, especially when you had the earlier boss fight where you couldn't do anything against him. Really,
I've tried my ass off. Trust me. It's only going to restart. I thought I was failing. So I was going to jump ahead and go.
What, did you realize you had to?
Yeah. Fucked up.
Like, I'm not doing any damage. I must be underleveled.
Yeah.
Shit.
I was like, God damn it. I'm doing terrible here. Yeah, well, I'll move on. I can stand here and argue about the Far Zeniths all day, I feel. Whatever. I will say, though, I enjoyed Carrie-Anne Moss's performance. And, you know, the motion capture and all that sort of stuff was cool. Their design is interesting, but I wouldn't say I liked it. But
how much of the painting stuff did you listen to?
Every single one.
Okay, same.
Yeah. I didn't rush through this game as much as you thought I was. Like, I did stuff.
Well, yeah, in my mind, you're just like, fuck this. No. Fuck all these dialogue options.
No. Oh, sometimes. That's the thing. And we'll get to this. We'll just move on to the next thing, which is like let's talk about some of the side characters, because that's where I'm saying again, like, and I pointed this out to you the other day when I was talking about my review. In my review, I talk heavily about Zoe, right? Her people.
It's great.
Great. Really got into that. Her options, explored all of them. The paintings, listened to all of them. The game was very hit and miss for me for what I actually drew interest in. I definitely can say I was not interested in what everyone had to say in this game. And that was like sort of I did not feel, especially because like I got review code obviously launch day. Reviews already out there. People are tweeting about it saying, you know, all the side quests, all the side characters, they're as good as The Witcher 3 and all this sort of, you know, big. Well, I'm like, oh, that's a big call. You're cold down there, big call. I definitely don't agree with that at all. I would say that some of the characters were really interesting. Some of the side missions, in particular, just your main group, their side missions were interesting. But for the most part, there was often characters where I'm like, especially just the random, you know, you walk into a village, someone's like, hey, I need fucking 10 pelts and you need to help me get some robot parts and, you know, all that stuff. And even
there's never anybody who specifically like, it's more like my random friend like ran off into the middle of the desert. I don't know what happened to him.
Some random shit like that.
That's the more...
Even those those missions, I nearly would have preferred them just to leave them as fetch quests, because even those characters will have like 20 different options you can explore to talking to them. And I'm like, I don't care about you. Like, I don't give a shit about you. Fucking get out of here, Josh.
No, I found all that stuff interesting and kind of helped build the world.
Yeah.
Because they would talk about other elements as well as just, you know, directly what they wanted. So I think it is a very fleshed out world. I've never finished Witcher 3, so I don't know how extensive the side quests are. Like, obviously, they feel like more of a story in that element, but like all of these are acted out. Every single character in this game is fully, anyone you interact with a mission is like there's full cinematics and like everything. So in that respect, I think I could understand where the comparisons go. But yeah, I don't think like every single side quest is a rememberable thing.
No.
I don't think so, no. But there are some really cool ones, like small little moments and stuff like that. Like I appreciated this one where this lady's brother is like gone to do some trial where he has to go fetch a flower from the top of the mountain. And like you have to go up the mountain in the middle of a snowstorm to try and save him.
You do a flying thing? You do that in the flying? You have to fly up the
mountain? No, you have to climb up the mountain.
Different then.
Because it's like a part of their test to become like a warrior in the Sky Clan or whatever.
All right.
And it's like, turns out like maybe the one of the lady leaders is like, the main person looking after these young people is like, maybe she's trans. And like, I think there's a lot of interesting like small things like that, and like maybe this kid that you save is like gay because like the sister comes in, and he saved this boy during the thing, and his sister comes in and says he's cute, like as in ribbing him and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think it's really interesting, the world and like some of the small things you'll notice as you explore some of these side quests.
I still think the world was the most interesting thing from the first game. I mean, the long short is that my thoughts in this game are very similar to the first one. And I find the world the world itself very interesting. And for some reason, like it's good that it works for you, but the first game and the first and second game, I've just had trouble like finding what the story or the characters they're using within their world to not doing like as good as I think they could be doing. Is the
Are you telling me you didn't feel anything when Val was killed?
Oh, I did then. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was only in respect to Zoe because you're in love with Zoe.
That's true.
It's like, fuck him.
That's right.
She's single now.
You should see my screenshots. I've got that scene. I was like, the best scene in the game. I was like, thank God that guy's dead. Can finally move on with my life. Yeah, I mean, the core characters, like, at your home base, nearly all of them, I would say, I really... Like, old mate from the Sky Clan, or whatever clan he was from with the one arm.
Katalu.
Yeah, I was like, meh. Like, I didn't dislike him, but, like, he was the one I sort of didn't vibe with the most, I would say, out of everyone.
Mean, I think he's got the most interesting kind of arc, I guess. Like, especially when you first meet him at the embassy. He's, like, fully like, against you.
Yeah, he's like, fuck you.
Fuck you. That kind of stuff. And then you kind of win him over along the way of the game, and kind of help him come to terms with, him missing his arm and that kind of stuff. I think that's cool. I think Aaron is fun. He's like the big dopey, psychic kind of character, who's clearly in love with Aaron. I mean, he's clearly in love with Aloy and like doesn't know how to express it. It's like I enjoyed like all of these people like coming to experience like the focuses and like exploring some of the stuff from human history, and like Aaron's loving heavy metal music, like being into robots versus machines.
Walk into your like,
stuff like
walk
that.
into your base and just like he's like no. Yeah, there's funny stuff. I did really like also. Who was the last girl you get? What's her name? I actually can't remember what her name is because it's probably had the least
Alva.
time. Alva. Yeah, I really enjoyed her. I thought she was really good. However, her mission, like her side of the game,
based on everything we've discussed so far, I'm guessing you did not.
Worst part of the game. That guy. I don't even think CEO. Come on, get out of here,
CEO.
Hey.
They call him the CEO.
They call him CEO, but it's like CEO.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
Yeah, because they base their entire society on like treating these
Terra and all this. Yeah, I felt like that
figures
time
like,
mission. Not only was that guy just obviously written that you want to punch him, which is fine because I did want to punch him. That was the point. I do feel like that mission though just fucking dragged. Like I feel like that just like went for so long. There was so much just walking, just backstory stuff, walking. And I think I got most pissed off that there was no payoff at the end because they get right down the end and you get into the room. They're like, oh, Ted Farrow's in there as a fucked up mutant. I'm like, oh, let's go. And then they just leave it.
You're disappointed that you didn't get to see fucked up Ted Farrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. I am disappointed. I was like, come on. Don't do that to me. Why can't I fight? Why isn't that a boss fight? Why can't I at least see him? Like, I don't know. Like, we trying to keep this game PG? He looks that bad? Come on. Let me down. But yeah, that
I think it's better to leave it to your imagination.
I mean, yeah, sure. But that entire section, let me put it this way. San Francisco, the best place in this game, right? The most unique looking area in this game. So it's the main marketing point of the game. It's where all the trailers have been. It's where the poster is. It's such a small area, and it's really disappointing because every other area in this game, like obviously the game looks beautiful, so I'm not saying it looks bad. Every other area in this game is from the first game. Like the one, which is fine. Like I'm not saying they need to come up with 4 or 5 unique areas every single game. I'm saying my disappointment is that the one key unique area is at the very end of the game, and it's a smaller area than the rest, and it has the shittest missions.
Dylan, you can blame global warming for that, and rising sea levels.
I mean, possibly, yeah, but yeah, I was really surprised, to be honest, that the key marketing location is the back end of the game in such a tiny aspect. And yeah, I hated all those missions for those people. Like, I like her character. I was glad when I got to leave, but all of those missions, all those people, I didn't like any of those characters, didn't like any of those missions. They were the least fun missions.
I don't think you're meant to like any of those characters.
Yeah, because still like the mission design or something. I don't know. It just felt like they just dragged.
I think that mission was different because obviously you're infiltrating Ted Farrow's base. You get to explore what happened to Ted Farrow, story-wise, and like, yeah, this seems right that this guy would like try to prolong his life as long as possible and have all these people around him trying to keep him alive, and then for it to go wrong, but then it all builds up to this sequence where you've got to run out of this base, and that feels very different to anything else in the game. So
I don't think I felt good though.
It didn't feel like, it's not Uncharted levels,
no,
like
that's
crazy
yeah.
action sequence, but it felt like a cool, interesting set piece that was different to most things you experience.
Yeah, I always felt like it, like, because the way the game's designed, that like just trying to run.
He did
around.
fall into lava.
Well, yeah, that was pretty good. But I just felt like the small corridors and stuff. Like I just kept like, it's just like she doesn't run very well. Like in the small, you know what I mean? Just the way the character's designed. So wasn't as like action epic as possibly it was supposed to be. What else is there? I was also going to say, I think compared to the first game, and I know this is a maybe just a me thing, like a lot of these things are, but I didn't like. So the first game, I liked more how you never knew what was on the horizon, right? Ha ha, pun intended. You would go from one objective to another. You was always sort of discovering something and where you needed to go next. It was always like you'd get somewhere. It's like, oh, this thing means this, means you can go to this side. Like, what are we got trying to find there? Don't know. Got to figure it out. Like it was always like a mystery unraveling, sort of one mission at a time. Whereas this game, once you're a couple hours in, once you get to the home base, you get guy set up. It's like, here's what you got to get. Here's the couple core pieces.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You need to get these 3 subordinate functions.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm not saying it's technically a bad thing, but in comparison, I would say that the first game's mystery unraveling, sort of the way that was paced, I kind of preferred that a lot more to this game just sort of being like 2 hours in and you're sort of like, well, here's all your objectives of the game, So it's just different, which is fine,
it's just different. I don't think there's much they could have done to create a similar mystery.
No.
This game.
No, but it was something like I was thinking about, like just how different the stories unravel in both of the games that they are.
Yeah, that's fair.
What are your do you have any actual negatives, or what are some of its biggest positives?
I think it does get a little bit lore heavy during times. I think the balance sometimes between, the dialogue and like the actual gameplay can be a bit heavy at times. Like I do think I spent like maybe an hour and a half like talking to people, especially towards the end of the last time you leave the base, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed like listening to all these people talk about various different things, but like it is quite lore heavy and like conversational stuff heavy and that kind of thing. But other than that, I think I think, like you said, like the story kind of, it feels like a little bit of a middle chapter because it ends on this kind of cliffhanger in which the world is about to end. This giant thing from another planet, a giant body of matter is coming towards the Earth again. They just have to make sure they don't look up, is what we're saying. Which coincidentally, another show I watched recently ended on a similar kind of cliffhanger. But yeah, I I enjoyed a lot of the characters. I liked exploring the cultures of the Tenakth, each of the different clans. I think They introduced the multiple choice dialogue option, and they only utilize it like a couple of times.
And it doesn't.
I
Really
would say,
matter.
I think it doesn't really matter, but there's like 2 points in which it matters.
There's like one clan where you do a mission for the girl and you do a mission for the guy. Have you done this one? And then at the end, you got to have them battle and you get to pick a side. And all the changes is who's running that clan in the future. It doesn't affect anything. Like that person will still give you a mission afterwards when you go back to that place. And it's just the character.
Which one did you pick? The girl or the guy?
I went with the guy.
The current leader or
I went the
new
guy.
leader?
I went the new leader.
Or the girl?
No, the guy. The guy.
I went the girl.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say the girl's the current leader. No, she was being a bit too wasn't open for discussion. You know, I felt like the guy was.
She was right.
What? The guy was
she was just trying to. His dudes cut off the water.
Yeah, but it was a mistake, and he was trying to apologize, and she's like, "No, fuck you," and she's like, "Well,
yeah, she's in charge.
Yeah.
You just have to deal with it. You have to follow orders. It's like, come on." Anyway,
went the guy.
That happened.
Yeah, but again, doesn't matter who you pick. So
no, I'm sure it didn't change the story a great deal.
No,
it didn't. I mean, yeah. But then, of course, the other big choice is like, do you let Regala live or die?
Let her live.
Yeah, and then she inevitably dies anyway. So
and then she dies
really
anyway. So it barely matters. She just.
It would be interesting to see whether that changes the final battle in any way. Like, does it save you from having to do a different fight?
Doubt it.
Who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, it really doesn't matter what. Doesn't feel like you have that much need for player choice in this or anything. Which I mean, they could have a lot more player choice in here. I mean, the game sort of sets up this Mass Effect-esque thing where you could potentially. You know, like that game has, you gather your companions, and then depending on how much you've done their missions for them and stuff like that,
shit.
If they would survive
what if the
at
next
the end,
game is there's no way to save everybody?
Well, maybe.
Everybody dies at the end. That's how the next game ends. Like, do you reckon fans would be on board with that?
No.
No matter what choices you make?
Depends if the characters die via a golf club or not. Otherwise, yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. Let me run down list here. I just remembered Michael sent in his thoughts earlier via Discord. You can go to explosionhub.com/Discord. Let us know in the future your thoughts on games and stuff if you want. You know, we're probably going to do a spoilercast for them. It's rather long. I'm just going to run down thing. Firstly, he said, "Fuck those kangaroo bots." That's fair. How do you feel about the kangaroo?
That's fair.
Kangaroo.
I mean, it's cool. They're in the game, but yeah.
What was your least favorite? Least favorite, you reckon?
Least favorite machine. I mean, yeah, those would probably be pretty high up there because they're hard to. They didn't have very clear weak points.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say my least favorites are probably still just the ones that went stealth, and they just piss me off.
I mean, obviously the specters, they're pretty shit.
Is that what they are? The ones that go stealth? Or?
No, those are the Far Zeniths machines.
All right. Oh yeah.
Ravengers pretty rough.
Yeah.
The shell snappers, they take a while to shake down.
They take a while, yeah.
And then the clamberjaws, the friggin' monkey ones, they're a pain in the ass.
They are a pain in the ass. And I don't think I saw them until nearly. I didn't come across those until like halfway through the game. I don't think, even though they were like in one of the first
they weren't in until like halfway in the game.
Oh, were they? Okay, I thought they were earlier, but there you go. He says he likes the influence of Mass Effect 2, seems to pull from building a team, revisiting the base, and having chats with them. But there are so many dialogue trees. Feels get stuck there. He said he got stuck on the terrain of hill when rolling towards an objective on one side mission. So he points out a glitch he had. He said, since I took a stealth option, I sniped a glint hawk from the edge of combat section and glitched under the map, and it was still alive. Yeah. So I've talked about Platinum Explosion.
I've had some glitches.
Yeah, I've had a few glitches. You've had a few glitches. It's I would say anything's like game. I've never had anything game breaking, especially because at worst I had to restart a checkpoint. And the checkpoints are usually pretty forgiving. So it was never the end of the world. But yeah, there was a few glitches going around. Maybe they've patched a few since release, but yeah, that's first few things going around there. What did it say? Sons of Prometheus 2 earlier didn't speak to Aaron first, but that mission glitched. Could be bothered reloading. Well, no, I don't know if that's related to a trophy bit. Rip.
I mean, it would be. You need to take out all the camps, right? That's a story.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, actually, no. I don't know if I can't remember. One of the trophies is you got to do all the camps or something. Another one is you only got to do like 4 of them. I can't remember which it is. Like camps and bases or whatever.
You've got to take out. Yeah, you've got to take out the bases. I believe.
Yeah, you got to take out all the bases.
Defeat whoever's behind all the bases.
Yeah,
I haven't done that one yet. But
yeah. So you got to do all the bases, the big ones, and then the random camps. You only got to do 4
the
of
outposts.
those.
Yeah,
the outpost things. There you go. He said, I wonder if not seeing the Ted Pharaoh mortar blob was a result of not having enough resources or scaling back what they had planned, abandoned plan for a boss fight. There you go. See? I didn't pick Val to die.
To leave it to your imagination.
No. I didn't pick Val to die or Zoe being pregnant. Was the only one who thought they had abandoned a subplot where Aloy wasn't infatuated with Val, but he didn't have the courage to speak about it. When he hooked up with Zoe, it was dropped off like a stone. I don't know. They sort of teased that, I guess, in that like.
I don't think they had a thing.
No, I don't know. They played with it for a moment, like when he rescues her, and then they're in that tent, and then like Zoe's talking outside, and Aloy's like sort of like listening. Yeah, I can see like at that moment, I was like, is Aloy supposed to be like, I'm jealous right now, or I don't know, like what the go was there.
She's just concerned about her friend.
Possibly, yeah. I forgot about the pregnant.
You don't act jealous, and they say, "Hey, you should go with this other woman straight away and not look after me."
That's true. I forgot about the pregnant thing though. That's a. Wonder if the game next time will have a time skip and we've got little baby Val running around.
Maybe. I guess it depends on how long this Nemesis thing is going to take.
Well, I mean, it takes ages to travel across. Surely, I don't know how fast they travel. I guess.
But how long after they destroyed the planet do they come over to?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Space. I agree with a reviewer who said that with having so many weapons with different ammo types, that would be hard to select on the fly. I've seen a few other people talk about this as well. So how do you feel
wish
about it?
they had something like Ratchet and Clank where you had multiple wheels.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Kieran, like well played Kieran, said that he went into accessibility option. He went into the accessibility options and turned on the thing where you could extend the
time to pick your weapons.
Crafting. And stuff. Yeah, so that's possibly an answer to that if anyone's struggling with that, I guess.
No, but if you just don't have if you don't have a frost weapon in your wheel, the only way is to go through your inventory, which doesn't take that long, really. You just have to press like the touchpad.
Yeah.
And go through, but. If they had have added like a second wheel, like Ratchet and Clank does, so you can easily get to another round of wheels worth of weapons to pick from, I think that would have been helpful. Even though it's not super realistic, but it's fun for gameplay.
Yeah. What's it? As for the finale, so the Mass Effect influences is it's the Reapers coming. I like the duality of the shuttles. My tinfoil theory before the reveal, aside from the betrayal, was that Tilda was Elizabeth's mother. I mean, could have. I guess that would have maybe worked.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. He says, I do look forward to a third game and any DLC. If they release New Game Plus, I may play it. And he gave it a score out of 8 when I asked what he would give it. So, how do you feel about the flying? That was another thing.
It was fine. Like, it was a cool addition. Like, it made for a powerful moment, I guess, within the game.
Yeah.
But I didn't really utilize it a hell of a lot, especially when you've got fast travel as an option. It's like, why would you fly? I guess, other than if you have to. So when you go back and you're trying to do some stuff for trophies, it makes a bunch of the side missions. I guess
super easy.
I guess if you have to go up mountains. And
it's like, climb up here and get this thing. You're like, no problem. You know those towers in the first area? They're get all these mirror pieces or whatever off. Did you do those?
Oh,
you just fly up there. So
okay, yeah,
the flying does become.
I can understand now why that would be super helpful.
Yeah. the flying speeds up a lot of the side quests in the.
So what you're saying is don't do any of the collectible stuff until the end because
Honestly, if someone was to ask me like, "Oh, Dylan, like I want to, I don't want to like I'm not trying to speed run it over here, but like what's the like just so I don't waste my time." Yeah, just like do maybe a couple if you feel you're under leveled. Otherwise, I'll just play straight through to the end game, and then just do the collectibles and all the side shit afterwards because it's going to be so much easier with the flying mount. But it's hard to tell someone that without spoiling the fact you get a flying mount. Like it's like spoiler town. What level was you when you finished the game? By the way,
50.
50. Yes, that's the thing. Like I was 47, so like
yeah,
it's not that.
I was like 50 for a while because you can't go higher than 50.
Oh, right. Okay. I wasn't
at 50.
I wasn't sure if you could go past. I'm not sure. Yeah, because as soon as I hit level 50 was the last trophy I got. So as soon as I hit 50, I just turned it off. So I didn't play anymore. Anything else you want? Like anything I haven't touched on that you can think of? Like major thing. We can talk about combat stuff. But I feel like we talked about that a lot on like other podcasts. And really
because it's easier to not spoil. But it's the same. It's like I think was the Shredder thing a new edition?
I believe so. I couldn't remember that. I think there's a couple new. Yeah, I didn't use it.
I didn't really use them. I didn't find them very satisfying.
I used it literally one trial, like one of the hunting trials or whatever. Like you have to use it one of those. And I was like, oh, what's this? I didn't even know what it was. I had to I'm like, oh, I've got one of those. Cool. I'll use it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different systems in this game that I just didn't use. Like traps, barely use them.
They're fucking useless in this game because they limit you straight away to only being able to do 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the first game,
I've rarely used. I felt like the ropecaster was not as strong as in the first game. It felt like you had to put like 50 into them to hold them down or anything. But the spears was cool. Like
spears are OP.
You were spamming them, but I feel like the bombs were, especially the explosive bombs.
I think it was just whatever the explosive was, but you could have the bombs.
I pretty much was using exclusively bombs and arrows. So
yeah, that's all I use. I used the spear instead of bombs, but it was just acid arrow, the armor, whatever bomb you've got. That's the way to win the game. Like especially on the Spectres.
Yeah, I did not use any. I barely used any food through the entire game.
I did use food a lot.
Yeah.
So any boss fight, any major tough fight, I always had some sort of food cooked. Be it that sometimes I could only afford or had the ingredients for the cheap one, but I think that was still plus 25.
I think that was kind of the best one because
it was. Some of the other ones had like very specific things that were good for scenarios, but I went into every single fight with food like prepared and rep to go. So I did find that useful.
And then I didn't really use potions a lot because
take too much time.
I was all filled up on like other potions. Yeah. Like I just want health. I don't care about cleansing.
A million berries. It's fine.
A million berries, super easy to restock those. I think that's super helpful. And then the Valor Surge, I barely use that.
I used it a lot.
I forgot how to use it. I wanted to use it and I forgot how to do it.
So I had the one I used the entire game was the increased crit damage, increased crit chance, and increased crit damage. I think it was in the warrior tree. And then I had my bow and I would make sure to put in the runes or whatever they are for more crit damage and crit chances. Yeah. So I built my Aloy around the Valor Surge and the critting and stuff like that. Yeah. So that stuff was kind of cool. And then like I had the other one where you did increase melee damage. So like when I was fighting like Regala or, someone like where it was more melee or even some of the melee challenge things, or there's one of the trophies is you've got to complete all the fighting pits and then you have to do like a little mini boss fight. Any of that stuff, I'd switch out to the increased melee damage. What are they called? No, what are they called? The things with
Valor Surge. Yeah.
Valor Surges. I'd switch it. So I'd switch between those two. The rest I didn't use at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, talking about like systems in the game, they spent so much time and effort in upgrading this goddamn melee combat system, and it's not good. It's okay. Like there's some combos in here, and if you can work out how to do them, you can pull up some pretty sick looking moves. But I just think it's completely wasted because there is barely any time in this game where any of them are practical. Other than in the melee fighting pits, most of the time you're fighting machines, you're not going to get close to them. And then the only time you're fighting humans is when you're sneaking into their camps, and you are sneaking because unless you're playing on easy difficulty, you're going to, it's so much easier, and you're just going to die. Like as soon as
it's also super satisfying, like their headshot. You see 600 damage.
Yeah, pop, crit, bye, dead. That's so. Yeah, I was like, look, I can see, because one of the complaints from the first game people had was that the melee was shit, and in this game the melee is decent.
Fine.
I just think it's a complete waste of resources.
You just don't use it.
Yeah, because there's no reason to use it. So
I don't know. Someone might want to play it that way. Yeah.
I mean, I would do it like every now and then. Like if I'm like if
you're surrounded by melee people.
Someone charged at me or something like that, I remembered a couple of combos that I could quickly pull off to like. There was like a knockdown attack. So like I did use it, but I wouldn't say it's something that I felt like changed the game. Like or was as good as they spent obviously a bit of time on and having you do all these melee pit, the training things and whatever else. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird choice, I think. And I mean, I've talked about also like before how, and I don't know if you probably just don't feel the same, but I did feel the whole, I point out in my review calling it, the narrative dissonance, ludonarrative dissonance sort of thing where...
No, I understand, yeah.
Yeah. It's like Aloy in every cutscene is in such a rush. She's like angry, but you get it because the world's ending and she's got places to be. And then the game gives you control back and you're like, cool, I'm going to do a race. I'm going to stop and play a fucking chess game. Like it's dumb. It's a fucking video game. I know it's one of those things where it's like, it's a video game, but at the same time...
You're asking me to treat this seriously.
Yeah, you asked me to treat this seriously, and then like you could, I don't know, like put this stuff in the post game. I don't know, like would that is that asking too much? Like to a degree, like is that a bad choice?
Yeah, I think that is too much. It's like do all these missions, and then you can do all the fun stuff afterwards.
Well, I mean, like just keep some stuff that seems utterly ridiculous, like the races and
it's fine.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just weird.
It's just one of those other things you have to live with. I guess circling back to some of the characters like Beta, I think. Oh yeah, forgot what was going to come. That is like, like the relationship like building. I can see where it eventually goes. It's like these two people like have issues with each other, and it's not until they actually talk about what the issues with each other are that they come to relate to each other. But yeah, Ayla acts like a bitch. Like almost every interaction prior to that final, you need to come along to Gemini or whatever thing. And then it's like, yeah, we're sisters. Yeah. That's rough.
That really annoyed me because I felt so bad for Beta constantly, like getting bullied by Aloy. And then, just the whole at the end where like, she's my sister. I'm like, you didn't earn that at all. This game did not earn that moment. Like Aloy has not earned that. Like that's just... Nah, you don't get to go from the way you was writing Aloy as being so mean to her to suddenly just, we're sisters. That's like, if you want to write her as being mean to her, then yeah, sure. You need to get from there to the sisters though. You don't just get to jump to sisters. It was really weird.
But that's how sisters
That's not how it works. I'll tell you the other thing that you just reminded me that annoyed me. Is, I don't know, like it's because... I'm like, nah, like this is the only way he felt like he could make this. I don't know what you'd call it. Anyway, I'll tell you what it is. But the scene, so you're at old mate Carrie-Anne's house, right?
Yes.
And then Beta, she like plugs into the thing and then Beta's there. And then Aloy goes and whispers in Beta's ear. Is the only time in the whole game when Aloy, who usually won't shut the fuck up, you can't hear what she's saying. And the only reason they do this is for a narrative cloak over you so you don't know what exactly is gonna happen, so like, oh, surprise, like here she was in on it, this was her big plan. And it just annoyed me. Like I'm like, you can't do that. Like the whole game you've set up sort of rules, which is that we're following Aloy and Aloy is the character we're playing as, so we should hear what she's saying. And now you're gonna suddenly just for the sake of a cheap reveal just do that. Like I'm not like saying this is like keep me up at night, a reason I knocked a million points off in the review, but I was like, come on, like you gotta set the rules. Like the rules are she's our protagonist. You can't just suddenly I walk into a fucking puzzle room and Aloy's like, there's a solution. She won't shut the fuck up. Like, and now I can't hear her say two lines. Jesus.
I think it was fine. Because obviously it's setting up, what we want to know. Like the ending. So.
It doesn't set it up though. It keeps it as a reveal.
Keeps it as a secret what her
for the player.
Plan is.
Only for the player. Like
everybody's keeping a part of the final plan close to their chest.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense that Aloy would as well. What did you feel about the underwater stuff? Because obviously that was another big selling point of the game.
It was shit.
And I feel like the one, like, it was fine. It's like, it is what it is. It's like being underwater.
Let me say, it was totally forgettable. I nearly forgot it was a thing, to be honest. It was totally forgettable.
I think it would have been vastly improved if there was some way to fight underwater.
Yeah. Mm.
It's like, great, I'm hiding from all these crocodiles.
Yeah.
Watches.
I just YOLO'd it most of the time.
Anything.
They'd see me. I'm just like, whatever, spam.
It's like swim as fast as possible.
Just spam the whatever circle or whatever.
It is some of the most beautiful looking underwater stuff I think we've seen in video games.
For sure.
But, yeah, it was kind of...
Just boring, I thought. Like, there was nothing to do. You're just moving from place to place, so... I don't... It was fine. Forgettable. I completely forgot until you said it. That's how much forgettable it was. I don't know. Anything else? I think we've hit most of the...
Yeah, I enjoyed, like, the Gala, like, Tokaro kind of story was quite interesting. And, like, obviously building up... But that whole marshals thing and, like, all the Tanakh, like, being... Him uniting the clan based on this one vision from a war memorial that he saw was kind of amusing. I did enjoy, like, the storyline of you going to Las Vegas and trying to recover these holograms or whatever. Like, I've got a couple more missions with those people. I'm looking forward to going back and catching up with them. Yeah, I think there's some interesting stuff in the game, like storyline wise, and that, like, little things to enjoy. There's cool moments, and there's like dumb stuff that happens. Like, I took out a outpost, and there's, like, I don't know, a frost claw or something at the front of the base that was just patrolling around. I'm like, no, I'm not going to fight this. I'm just going to run off. And as I run off, I hear it start to fight something else. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So I go back, and it started a fight with two the crab things. So I just took pot shots while the two were fighting with each other until they're all dead. So yeah, that was fun.
Free XP.
Yeah, free XP. Free resources. I do love that you can add jobs for everything. And, like, that was super helpful. Like, there's a resource that I need that's slightly off the path that I want to go to. I'll just quickly go over there. Especially, like, the animal stuff for the pouches and shit. Like, that wasn't in the first game, I don't think. Like, if you want to
I don't think so, no. And I early just went ham on upgrading my max arrows. So I just gave myself the job, went and got all the bits I needed, gave myself the job, went and got all the bits I needed, upgraded my, like, main arrows a couple times. So
yeah.
Got that shit done. Bombs and whatever. Or whatever, all that other random shit. No, it's all right. Arrows, need plenty of space for arrows. All right. I can't think of anything else. I think we've covered.
What do you think the next game's going to be?
Fucking.
How do they do, like, how do you do another game based on the concept that you're trying to unite the entire world against this one threat?
I think there has to be a time jump. I think you have to move it out of the style the game's currently in somewhat. And by that, I mean, like, at the end of the game, they've got access to whatever the system was that has, like, all the history and, like all the knowledge or whatever in it. That subordinate.
I don't know if they
did, because it was on the
no, there was, like, one spot blank.
No, they got one off the ship. So the Far Zeniths ship had that system on it. So they got that off it, and then at the end, Gaia's talking about how she has to run it for her systems to make sure it's safe for her to insert or whatever, and that may take some time, is what she said. So I think once they get up and running, then that means that all of Aloy's able to share around this knowledge and stuff a lot more. And that doesn't mean I think suddenly the next game they've like built, you know, Las Vegas back up. But I think it would be good to see like something that makes it look like they've used the tech to somewhat move forward with what they've got based on the information they get and stuff like that. You know, maybe that is they've got some shields up, like the Far Zeniths shields. Like maybe not everyone, but maybe they're able to create a couple of those to protect locations. You know, just something that sort of makes it look like they've moved forward. But otherwise, I don't know. No.
Like world-wise, how do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's like the plot is what? There's a big AI creature coming down to kill them. Cool. So what
are you just going to be in the Forbidden West?
It's just a fighting game. Like, what's the? It's just Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Like, what's the?
Or have you got some other? I don't know. Is it going to come down? Is it teaming up with Festus? Is that the big? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, are we going to get a new location for the next game, or are we going to go back to? In my mind, if they decided to combine like the location, the world's maps of the first two games, and then add a third map of a similar size.
That's too big.
Which seems way too big, but that is the only way that kind of makes sense for a story of this scale. You know what I mean?
I mean, what if they just... I mean, the easy explanation is they figure out a way to track it when it's coming closer to Earth. They realize it's going to land in the fall. They're going to land in the north or something, so then Aloy heads north.
The Forgotten East.
Forgotten East, sorry, the East. Yeah. I feel like that's the easiest way to just explain why she has to...
why she goes to somewhere else, yeah.
So look forward to that in 5 years. I'll tell you what, though, I hope it's not 5 years, because fucking hell, like... There's one thing about...
Because you want the story to continue. Because you like the story.
There's one thing about video game development, which is that, like, fucking hell, sometimes it takes just... You know, and it's just a...
Just give us something. Just some comic books. Or
it's just... Can't just take so long. Yeah.
See, this is why God of War is like a 2-part saga.
Yeah, get that shit get it done. Ashley Birch will be like 84 years old by the time it's last one. So, gee whiz.
It is crazy also that Angela Bassett's Regala.
Yeah, what a waste of Angela Bassett. What a waste. Jesus Christ. Angela Bassett. And we're wasting on bloody Far Zeniths. Come on. Bullshit. All right. That'll do it for this Arcade Couch spoiler discussion. If you like hearing us talk about PlayStation, make sure you go check out Platinum Explosion, #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. Subscribe to that feed. We've been talking about Platinum Explosion, Horizon over there week by week as we've been playing it, of course. Now the Spoilercast out on the Arcade Couch feed. You're on if you're from Platinum, the first time you're listening to Arcade Couch because you heard us say over there that this is where you got to find the podcast. Subscribe to this too. Here's where we talk about all things video games, sometimes PlayStation. We don't dive, full on in as we do on Plat, but that's why there's 2 shows. And make sure to check out explosion.com for my review of Horizon if you want to read that and find out why I gave it a 7, more so than what I just talked about here. And check out everything else we got over at explosion.com. Until next one, goodbye.